Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, we're talking about Half-Life 2. Now, we talked about Half-Life 2 yesterday and also the day before. Anyways, here we talked about this one yesterday mainly because of the overall player count. So the concurrent player count at the time of filming was 63,700, I think. And it's increased to 64,085, and that's people playing the game at the exact same time. And that is the highest this game has ever been, 20 years after release. Anyways, this is a final reminder that the game is still currently 100% off for a few more hours. So if you watch this video, you haven't picked up Half-Life 2 on Steam yet, you may want to pick your copy up. You pick it up once for free and, well, you've got it forever. Next up, we're talking about Linux. And if you use Linux and you like to be on the cutting edge of things, you might like this update. Linux kernel 6.12 has just dropped. Now with this update, there's a whole bunch of fixes and improvements across the board. For example, there's improvements to the Asus ROG Ally X. There's also improvements to the Raspberry Pi 5. And on top of that, there's one big feature here that's been rolled out that was 20 years in development. So the new feature is called Preempt RT, which stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano. It's a set of patches for the Linux kernel, which implement both hard and soft real-time computing capabilities. Now, it was merged on September 20th, however, it wasn't enabled, and now it is. So they say right here, after 20 years of development, we finally reached the point to enable Preempt RT support in the mainline kernel. All prerequisites are merged, so enable it on the supported architectures ARM64, RISC-V, and x86 3264-bit. Next up here, we're talking about 8-bit mods, and 8-bit mods is currently working on a brand new VMU for the Sega Dreamcast. From my understanding, it hasn't released yet and it's not finished development. And they showcased it up and running here and running Doom. And they say better frame rate than the SNES and 32X combined. The most powerful VMU is the VMU Pro. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. Unfortunately, I don't know pricing or release date just yet, but if you've got a Dreamcast, would you be interested in a VMU Pro? And speaking about custom stuff, next up we're talking about a custom mini GameCube. Now this is not official, it's not sanctioned by Nintendo, it is kind of a homebrew thing, and it's being created by Robert Dunn Art. It is a mini GameCube that I think looks fantastic. So he says here, first black GameCube Mini is complete. The customer wanted an all black everything. And there it is beside an actual GameCube, which is small in itself. Now it seems that black GameCube was not just a one-off. He's got a purple one here and an orange one. And he says, yes, there's an x86 Intel-based mini PC inside. I've got no idea how much these cost. I've got no idea how long it takes them to make one. But they do look pretty darn cool, and I'm curious on how emulation would work on these devices. Next up, we're talking about a fan translation patch I think a number of people might be excited to hear about. It's for Detective Conan Legacy of the British Empire, and it's an English translation patch. This game was released in Japan back in 2004 for the PS2 and was never released in English. And now there is an English translation patch for this game. So at the time of filming, version 1.0 of this English fan translation patch has just dropped on the 20th anniversary of this game. And they say 100% English fan translation patch available, including video subtitles, menu, dialogues, and credits. The patched game works on the PCSX2 emulator and real PS2 hardware. Next up, we're talking about Civilization 6 on mobile. Now, this game is on the Google Play Store. It's got a whopping 1 million plus downloads. It seems to be popular, but the review score is, I want to say it's in the toilet. It's 2.8 stars out of 5, which is not very good. It's got over 17,000 reviews. And people are saying much improved since launch, and a lot of people are giving it 1 stars, 3 stars, and, well, 2.8 on average here. So who knows what's going on for the Android version. It is free, but there are in-app purchases. However, Netflix is releasing this one as well. So from my understanding here, Civilization 6 Netflix launches on December 5th and may be better than the other version of Civilization 6 on mobile. They're calling this one, I think, the Platinum Edition, and it includes quite a bit. So they say right here, with this version of Civilization 6, Netflix members have access to all expansion packs and content included in the Platinum Edition of the game. The only thing you need to establish a legendary empire is time and a finely honed strategy. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below if you're a fan of Civilization 6. I will be paying attention to the overall adoption rate of this one. I will be paying attention to the review score, and I'm very curious to see how it stacks up versus the original one on the Google Play Store. If this is an improved version, I think this looks very good for Netflix games moving forward. Next up here, we're talking about Sugarbox, which is a CPC emulator for Windows and Linux, and it just got its first update in about a year. So at the time of filming, version 2.0.3 has just dropped. The previous version was 2.0.2, which released on November 29th, 2023. This one has a number of updates and fixes, so if you're into CPC emulation, you may want to check this one out. Next up, we're talking about game preservation, and there's a very interesting project going on right now where someone is trying to preserve all of the PS1 game manuals. If you are curious about it, the post is up over on Reddit, and like everything I talk about, link will be in the description below right at the bottom. So this person says, "Okay, boys and girls, one last request. These are the last 13 US released PlayStation manuals that I do not have a scan for. I would really like to post a complete set for the PlayStation's 30th anniversary on December 3rd. If you have any of these or know anyone who has these or might have a lead on these, please let me know." And here's a list of the games they're looking for: Batman Forever, the arcade game, Crow City of Angels, Divide the Enemies Within, Eggs of Steel, Elemental Gearbolt, Fox Hunt, International Superstar Soccer Pro Evolution, Namco Museum 4C, Psychic Detective, Rascal Racers, Starblade Alpha, Siphon Filter 3 911 cover, and Creative Voyage. And last up here, we're talking about the GPD Pocket 4. If you've had your eye on one of these devices, a lot of people call them gaming handhelds, I call them just a small laptop here. They now have pricing. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the GPD Pocket 4, I would say it really lives up to its name of Pocket. I mean, the screen on this one is only 8.8 inches, and it's at 144 Hz. They say it's a modular, full-featured handheld AI PC, and I think it can also function as a tablet. And the total wattage on this one is 28. There's 3 different versions of this thing. One features an AMD Ryzen AI 9 HX370 with a whopping 64 gigs of RAM. And the price on this one is pretty hefty as well. Retail price is $1466. The mid-tier version is an AMD Ryzen AI 9 HX365 with 32 gigs of RAM. This one also isn't messing around. The price on this one is $1157. And the bottom tier one, which also isn't messing around, is an AMD Ryzen 7 8840U. 16 gigs of RAM priced at $895. Now, in terms of GPD products, there's a YouTube channel called The Fox. If you've never checked out his channel, I do recommend checking it out, especially for GPD stuff. I think he's a fan of GPD stuff anyways. I'm assuming he's probably going to have a review of this thing up whenever it releases, and, well, we'll be able to see what it looks like in action. If you have a GPD, if you're looking forward to this one, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. She's upstairs right now, tucked in underneath a Christmas tree, all snuggled up and sleeping. I'm not going to bug her. She makes it on camera when she's bugging me when I'm filming, and that's really about it. Anyways, we talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about anything we talked about in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate. Save your state.